Hey, how's everybody doing? So I wanted to add a few more things to the postings I've put up so far tonight or this morning. Uh, but a few other things came to mind that I should have added to the other ones. But anyways, make a long story short, the first thing I want to mention is with these recordings of this noise, and it's seemingly getting progressively louder and louder. So I don't know if they're trying to quote unquote, send a message that, oh, if you complain, we'll just make it louder. I don't know if it's something childish like that or if it's just coincidence. But I wouldn't put it past these people to be childish like that. Uh, anyway, so there's that. And then also, I want you to keep in mind it's this behavior that they are performing. Um, it's that behavior that is going to make them equally responsible, just like the other 24 individuals that at some point I may name, probably after they've been served the documentation and paperwork and contracts. Um, but these organizations, the corporations, the Stave Company, and Casting Solutions, even though at this time in general, uh, Casting Solutions isn't as much of a nuisance as the Stave Company is. It seems the Stave Company is definitely the more uh, usual suspect, I guess. But nonetheless, the Casting Solutions has put out enough noise, disturbing noise, over the past couple of years to affect my health none the same, or nonetheless. Nonetheless, I think that's how you say it. And I mean, I've got plenty of recorded evidence of Casting Solutions as well. So even though at this time right now, they're not necessarily, breaking the law as much as the Stave Company operators are. Regardless, they're going to be held accountable too, and so the principals will be served with documents as well. The principals of those individual corporations, the parent corporations, because after all, if you do your research, these companies that are destroying the community aren't even technically local companies. They're foreign companies, foreign entities. Their parent companies are outside of the city, outside of the county. In fact, outside of the state. The parent companies, the principals of these companies, the um, headquarters, if you will, for both of them that I've mentioned, are located outside of the state. So I find that interesting. Um, that public servants of this area, of this community, would allow foreign entities, foreign businesses, to have production facilities essentially right on the edge of the city limits. Uh, Not, I mean, knowingly projecting their noise into the city, for any of them to not have an inkling or an idea or a suspicion that their noise is disturbing when it encroaches the neighborhoods and areas where it's supposed to be quiet. Um, if they don't have any idea that that's disturbing, that their noise is disturbing, then their head needs to be examined. Um, I just don't get it. I miss the days when people actually had there was common courtesy. Uh, most people would hold the door for someone coming in or out. Um, and they still kind of do a little bit, but not as much as they used to. But in situations like this, um, business operators being responsible, making sure that their production wasn't too loud because they could get a fine from the city or from the corporation, municipal corporation where they're located, uh, or like in this situation, should the city not do anything about it, well, there's other ramifications, such as this process that I'm going through, and we'll be sending them documentation as well. So I want you to keep that in mind, and also something else that popped into my head while I was doing these recordings and thinking about this whole thing over the past couple of years, and especially this most recent um, joke of a situation experience that I found myself in dealing with these idiots. Um, as far as and keep in mind the Brady Rule, where the prosecutors are required to pay attention. I can't remember the exact verbiage, but they're required to pay attention to um, what's the term? Exculpable information, evidence. I think that's the term. Well, they have a duty to pay attention to all evidence, especially evidence that would controvert the so-called charges. And so one thing that I forgot to specifically ask Michael T. Hughes, but something that he should answer for is why did he not look into the matter as far as the noise, the reason for the complaints, the calls? Well, I mean, I can tell you what my opinion is of it, and I will. But just think about it for a moment and consider that. What do you think? Why do you think he would ignore this very loud noise that I'm complaining about, that the municipal corporation is required to address, and so on and so forth, and it's all spelled out in the state codes, and even in the municipal codes to a degree? Why would he ignore that? Just like the idiots at the lower municipal corporation level, the public servants there, Michael T. Hughes, that spoke on behalf of a fictitious entity, an imaginary friend. Excuse me. Uh, he ignored the actual crime that's being done here, that's taking place, that's still ongoing, of this disturbing noise. And so he ignored all of that, so that way he could, with his blinders on, without paying attention to the whole truth, he could only pay attention to what he wanted to focus on and put right in front of him. So only the information that supported the fraud and the trust fraud action, breach of contract, breach of trust, and so on and so forth, violations of Title 42, 1983, Title 18, 241, and 242 of U.S. Code, of multiple portions of the Constitution, not to mention the Second Amendment. But why would he ignore that? And again, that's I gave you my opinion, but think about it for yourself, and why do you think someone in that position with that much power to be able to destroy people's lives with a drop of a dime just because they want to, for whatever reason, whether they feel justified, whether it's their job or whatever the bullshit excuses are. I mean, that's what they're doing. They're destroying people's lives. Mostly because people are allowing it to happen because they're ignorant. They don't understand. They don't. Well, that's a problem. They do understand. They're standing under these tyrants' authority. They're accepting the contracts and allowing these people to strip them of their rights, and that's, unfortunately, that's where it comes into play. So I guess I would say wolf in sheep's clothing, but that's giving them too much credit because they're not as strong as a wolf. They're cowards. Um, they're cowards and pussies that hide behind their titles and positions, and the only reason they act the way they do is because in the back of their mind they know that they're gonna have the support of the servants that serve them. Uh, the army of tyrants that will come to their beck and call if they feel threatened in any way, shape, or form. If somebody hurts their feelings, well, they'll just file charges and destroy somebody's life. That's what I've seen. Now, don't get me wrong. There are people that deserve to be in court and deserve to be in jail for serious crimes. But let's be realistic here. And I'm not going to go back and rehash it all. But just think about it and consider it. Is that justified? Is that even proper? I mean, is that even more ethical for someone like Michael T. Hughes, or for that matter, Ronald Lynch, the head prosecutor? Everyone else involved, Jay Vinsel, Kelly Cottrell, David Tarbert. These people, they should know better. And they probably do, but they play on people's ignorance. They're so used to getting away with it that they just act and don't think about it because they're not used to people recording them. They're not used to people keeping records of their interactions. They're used to people that don't know better and just go along to get along, do what they're told, listen to the attorney, let the attorney speak for them. They've gotten complacent, and it's that complacency that's exposed themselves, or that they've allowed themselves to be exposed for who they truly are. And that's going to be their downfall. So like I said, even though they've got protections set up within their own ranks, there's ways around that. There's more than one way to skin a cat. So, if they want to play hardball, I can play it too. So that's why all of these people, these 24 individuals, and at some point I'm going to name them, as well as these possibly the operators, the business operators of the individual companies, the source companies that are the operators are operating the machinery at night, making all this noise. Them plus the principals themselves will be getting some documents as well. And so I mean, as far as I'm concerned, the way I look at it is everyone's equal. So it would be crazy to try to determine how much liability each individual has in the situation, because quite frankly, it's really arbitrary. There they're all equally responsible. And whether they want to see it or not, I really don't care. I'm not interested in going along with their nonsense just because they've got a group of other idiots that want to agree with them. Just because a group of idiots think something is true doesn't make it true. Nobody can believe in something that's true and it's still true. It's not going to change it. I don't care how much you think that breathing air in your lungs doesn't keep you alive. Try not to breathe and see how that works. See what I'm saying? Yeah, I don't want to ramble, but I just wanted you to think about that and think about people like Michael T. Hughes, people like Donald Mason, people like Ronald Welch, people like Kelly Cottrell, people like Flegel, the hell's his name? Mark Flegel. These people are supposed to be doing the right thing. They're supposed to be providing a service to the community. And I guess in a roundabout way, they kind of are, but it's more of like a mafia style service, promoting fear and extortion rather than cooperation. It's really strange. I never thought that I would see something like this. Actually here. But here it is. Here it is right here in my face. Real as ever. We've got people that are probably getting paid decent money to speak on behalf of imaginary friends, fictitious entities that only exist on paper, to make claims for non-existent beings. Not even that. They're not even beings. Entities. I guess that's a better term. Non-existent entities. So imaginary friends. So Michael T. Hughes, it baffles me to think about it in that context. Michael T. Hughes spoke on behalf of his imaginary friend and made claims about me and said that I do this and that. And the crazy part about it is, even more crazy part about it is, other people believed him. But, to believe something, you first have to accept the lie that's in the center. And there's someone that I follow that uses a phrase, belief is the enemy of knowledge, I think that's what it is. Belief is the enemy of knowledge. And when you think about it, it really is. Because you can believe anything. Doesn't make it right, doesn't make it true. But if you know something, well, you can only know truth. I mean, you can know untruth in the context of identifying what's true and what isn't. But you just really know that something is untrue, not necessarily what it is. But truth is truth, whether you believe it or not. So just consider that. Because that's what's most important. And most times, reality is staring us right in the face. And it's just up to us to pay attention and accept it. Be in the present.